How well do you guys know your Coros watch? Let's play a quick game with this one. I'll start with some super obvious features, and then I'll get a little bit more obscure, and you guys let me know if you're familiar with all of these features, or if you're only familiar with the first 6 or 8 out of 10, wherever you guys end up. None of these are super difficult by any means. But let's start with something super obvious. Let's start with music. Now, almost all of the Coros watches can play music. If you do have an older Coros watch, this might not be the case, but I'm primarily going to be showing the Coros Pace 3 within this video, which has 4 gigs of storage, as opposed to a watch like the larger Vertex watch, which has 32 gigs of storage. But regardless, we can make our own workout playlist in here with a few MP3s, connect our Bluetooth headphones, and jam out on the trails while we leave our phones at home. Lately, I've actually been listening to public domain audiobooks. It's freaking amazing. Sometimes I find myself finishing my runs and just wanting to walk around a little bit more, like a full extra mile sometimes, just to keep listening to these books. If you haven't tried it yet, plug your Coros watch into your computer. It'll register it as an external drive, and then just drop MP3s into that location. Okay, another easy one for you. Almost all of the Coros watches have some form of navigation built into them. Here's how it looks on the Apex 2 Pro, and here's how it looks on my beloved Coros Pace 3. So mapping and no mapping, or actually what they call breadcrumb style navigation here, which you can kind of see exactly where you're going. You just don't see trail maps and road names and different things like that. Now, if you're not familiar with adding courses to your Coros watch, I use the Coros app. In here, you can view courses that you've done in the past. You can view courses that are starred from places like Strava or other third-party apps that sync over. Basically, you can export any of these routes onto your Coros watch. And if you do have like a GPX file or something like that, you can import that here as well. Okay, your Coros watch can also track your sleep, and you'll see stuff like your sleep stages, the sleep stages that you progress through at night. So that's stuff like your light sleep, your REM sleep, your deep sleep, any times that you've woken up throughout the night to go to the bathroom. I don't personally put a ton of trust into any of the sleep stages that any of these companies put together, but trying to get to bed a little bit earlier should help us increase our deep sleep percentage cycles. Now, another health metric that Coros tracks while you're sleeping is your HRV, or your heart rate variability. So for this metric, we're tracking the time between heartbeats so that we can actually account for how much variability there is in your heartbeat. And then we'll establish a typical range. And this is a little bit counterintuitive, but when you're actually really worn out, could be from a really hard workout, or it could be from like a night of partying really hard, or even being sick or something like that. But the more of that stress that you've had, the more that your heart rate will lock into a steady rhythm trying to recover. So there's less variability in your heart rate and a lower HRV score. Now, conversely, an erratic heart rhythm throughout the night can actually mean that your body is well recovered and it's ready to work out. Now, in that navigation example from before, I used a route that I'd done in the past, but you can also build routes right within the Coros app. Here, check this out. There's an Explore tab in the Coros mobile app, and it'll let you click around and just kind of build a course, and it'll actually snap to the trails in this particular case, but you can also have it snap to a road, or you can have it not snap at all. Here's my little like 2-miler, just like an out and back, and I can save this for an easy day whenever I need it. Okay, maybe this is another easy one that you guys were very aware of because it's right underneath the start button when you actually fire up a run activity. But your Coros watch can help you pace a nice even split 5K or 10K, half marathon or full marathon, or even like a custom distance if you want to set it to that. But you just select the distance and you select the target pace, and you'll see a little pacer animation with how much time you're either ahead or behind your target. Now, if you hit a split, or if you have an automatic split, it'll tell you how far ahead or behind you are in a nice large font on the split screen. It could be a nice tool for you guys to use either in a race or even like in a tempo run where you want to try and keep a nice even pace throughout the workout. Now, if you are into cycling, your Coros watch can perform an FTP test as long as you have a power meter that you can connect your watch to over Bluetooth. Now, if you're not familiar with FTP, that's your functional threshold power, or the amount of force that you can put into the bike roughly for about an hour. Most serious cyclists use this FTP number as a base to kind of base all of their training on, or even their races. They'll race based on their FTP values, and definitely they'll do structured workouts based on it. But it's really nice that right from your Coros watch, you can scroll down to fitness tests and go right to cycling FTP tests and perform an FTP test to kind of keep an eye on that FTP value. Now, Coros also has a group tracking feature, which could definitely be used for running. But again, I do feel like it definitely leans itself more towards like a cycling feature. But again, using the Coros smartphone app in conjunction with your Coros watch, you can build a group, you can invite people to your group, and you can choose a route if you want to. And then you'll see live data of where people are on that route. You can actually even see live metrics like heart rate, the time that you're actually out there, and pace information. Now, what's really cool here is if you or someone in your group has safety alerts enabled on their Coros app, and remember, you can enable safety alerts on your Coros app by going to your profile page on the Coros app and specifying an emergency contact person. But in this case, by holding that backlight button for 7 seconds, I can initiate a safety alert and my entire group is going to be alerted. So for me, I think the perfect example for this would be something like you get a flat tire on the road when you're cycling, and your group might want to circle back, just backtrack a little bit and help you change the tire, or maybe like heckle you while you're changing your tire. I don't know. But one of my favorite features on this list is the fact that your Coros watch can actually now be extended to a much bigger, a much brighter, a much higher resolution screen on your smartphone. If you don't run with your smartphone, that's cool, but I typically do. And this is actually a really nice tool just to pull out when I need a quick, clear view of the trails and the maps that I'm running on. And I also bike, and I review cycling computers. But for those of you guys who own a Coros watch, do some cycling, I think that this extender feature is a super cool way to allow your smartphone to be used as a cycling computer with data streaming over from your watch. I think it's a super cool feature, and I'm very excited to see what Coros is going to do with this in the future. Okay, number 9. Did you guys know that your Coros could actually perform a running form test for you? It does require the Coros FootPod in conjunction with a somewhat modern Coros watch. Most of the modern Coros watches cover it, no problem. But to do one of these, you scroll down to the fitness tests and then select running form tests. After you roll through the entire test protocol, you'll end up getting a score, 1 to 100. Might be something fun for you guys to track your progress, but you'll see a ton of interesting metrics in here, like your strength, your balance, your cadence, your stride length, stride height, height, average ground contact time, average strike angle, average peak ground force. I actually made a full video talking about that testing process if you guys want to check that out. And I actually tested it and I compared it to the exact Garmin numbers while I was wearing 2 watches at the same time. I'll leave a link to that video in the top right-hand corner up here if you guys want to check that out. Okay, if you have a coach and you follow a training program, your Coros watch can help. Especially if you use a third-party training calendar. For example, I use Training Peaks, but you can actually set your workouts to sync directly from that training calendar to your Coros watch. And here's a list of like third-party apps that are supported. Feel free to pause the video here to see if like your favorite training platform is listed here. But a lot of these companies sell third-party training programs as well, and I think they're decent. So if you're not really ready for a full-time coach, you can buy a 5K or a 10K training program that kind of fits best with your day-to-day schedule and kind of where you are as a runner. I'm seeing marathon programs on Training Peaks from anywhere to like 40 or 50 bucks, which seems perfectly reasonable for a good training program. But did you know that your Coros app can actually build out your own personal marathon training program based on your current fitness and based on the estimated marathon times that it thinks you can do? It's actually pretty cool. And the best part, it's completely free. Now again, this is something that you set up through the Coros application. You can actually set it, and it'll ask you a couple of questions about how you're doing and what your goals are, in particular what kind of marathon time that you're hoping to do. But it'll basically set up a complete training program for you, sync all of that information to your watch, and when you do go to turn on like your run for that particular day, it'll ask you if you want to complete your activity or your actual workout for that particular day. Now, 2 quick questions for you guys. Was there anything on this list that you guys weren't really aware of? Number 2, what secret Coros features do you guys actually know about and you want to let me know about? Because I always learn more in the comment section of these videos than really anywhere else on the internet. Comment section is right below the like button and the subscribe button below this video. But either way, super sneaky Coros features or no Coros watch at all, I really do hope that you guys are getting out there, swimming, biking, running, rinsing, and repeating it all over again, and we will see you guys on the next one.